All right, a very good afternoon, good morning to you, whatever. Just a little rundown here on the radio studio, tips and tricks, and one or two things. This is my own particular studio here. You maybe learn a couple of things. I don't know. It's not being silly about it. People know a lot of things, but you may pick up one or two things in here. I know when I look at videos, I pick up things, so let's hope you do. Just showing you a run around there with butt and the mixer and meters and everything else. So let's take a slightly closer look at it here. Obviously, you need some sort of play-out software, and this is mine. Rekordbox, Pioneer. I know there's Serato and Virtual DJ and other bits of software available, Play It software and stuff, but this is still the sort of DJ stuff. Not particularly lending itself to radio, and no, because Play It is now tending to be better, although you don't have so much control as you get with this, but never mind. Looking at this in particular, this is the screen here. You need a screen for playing out your bits and pieces. You also need a controller. The controller controls the software, of course. Here to my right, obviously I've got the touch screen. It's a PC touch screen. With all the fancy custom bits on it. Yours will not be as customized as mine, you know what I'm like. And over here it is the play out processors, one for the music, that's made by Behringer, and one for the voice up here made by DBX. Obviously the settings in these are crucial. I do have a sort of optimum setting if anybody wants it. If anybody has that particular box and they want to get it almost bang on with one or two tweaks and twiddles to customize it, I do have the settings. Right, so let's go back here. On the controller, a little word about gain controls. Let me just fix the camera there, and let's go over to speaking of gain controls. Let me cue that up and play this now. There we go. Right, okay, so if I play the track, you'll notice that the gain control is down a little bit, and the gain control is trim on this particular controller. It can be called trim, it can be called gain. Your optimum setting, you want all the yellows on and of course no reds. If it's down there or maybe there, it's too low, obviously, so you want to be able to turn it up a bit. If it's up there, of course it's too loud and everything's kicking, and as soon as you put the level up to play the track, everything's far too loud, and so obviously you want, and by the same token, if you play it like that so it's too low, listeners will be dashing to the radio to turn the volume up, and then when you speak it's going to be far too loud again. So obviously gain controls are quite important, or trim controls. You want to make sure that these are in the proper position, because all records and CDs and everything else have never been recorded at the same level, which is kind of off-putting. But anyway, meters to watch. I've got many meters to watch. As UB40 said, many rivers to cross. I've got many meters to watch. But these ones right in front of me, BBC meters, I bought these because I thought they were very handy. They're quite rare to get nowadays, but LED ladders are more the thing. If you turn it up right full, of course, all reds are dancing on the compressor, and it sounds like it's pumping, you know. So obviously you want it just so that the gain is such that it's not nearly such a pumpy sound in the compressor. It's just quite smooth. If it's too low like that, then obviously the meters are sitting about 3 there. Butt meters will be over at 3 as well. Before we go to butt, let's just look at the mixer here as well. You've got a mixer, meters on the mixer as well. You can watch these too. Individual channel here committed to the controller, which is here, of course, over to the channel which I've used here, committed especially to the controller. And what else can I say? Oh yes, meters on here, of course, on the mixer. You might have some of these, you might have some that are only a few lights on them. I've got something else hooked into this, because you know me, I've got a PreSonus box which helps to just change the signal from analog to digital, and it makes it really, really good. It's a really smooth signal. That's in the chain before it, just last in the chain before it goes to butt. And butt over here on another computer, you obviously can see the meters on butt. Here at this moment in time, because I turned the gain down, it's low. So there's a visual indication as to what you should be doing. You can look at butt and see that you should be on 2 yellows there, 1 yellow each channel, and that is the optimum setting for butt, whether you're on voice or news or a drop or music. Everything should be sitting at 1 yellow, except of course when the song's fading, clearly, obviously. So that's butt, and never touch that little slider on butt. Do you see there's a little slider underneath the meters? That usually gets set at -3 dB and stays there. That's always the case, -3 dB. I should maybe have shown you that there, but I don't want to change it just now. So that sits there, so it never needs changed. I've got another bit of software in this computer here that runs the PreSonus box called Studio One, but there's no need for that. We won't go into that just now. Play out speakers, they can be on the wall, they can be on the desk, they don't need to be as big as that. You know me, I've just had these for years, they're really good. A clock on the wall, of course, quite important. And what else? As we were discussing, of course, the cart wall. A little tip here, which I don't think you can do in HQ, because obviously it would be too awkward to do in HQ, but if you have a cart wall by yourself and it's your own studio, it's only your own studio, not the HQ one, because HQ would you'd be tampering around with it. You can colour the 3 sponsors. If you're doing a 3-hour show, you can colour the 3 sponsors for the hour. You know, for instance, that one there I'm pointed to is the yellow one for 3 o'clock, then 4 o'clock, then 5 o'clock. So yellow and yellow, ochre and brown. If you're only doing a 2-hour show, of course you can colour them in that little paint box there. If you're on a 2-hour show, you only get 2 there, but in HQ, as I say, it would be too awkward to start colouring them, because you'd have to return them to the normal colour to let the next guy colour them, and then you might get a chance you'd mess things up. Weather ones are up there, of course, and news in there, of course, as well. So that's just if you have your own cart wall, not if you're in some multiplex HQ, for instance. So on this particular controller, I have the touch screen coming into the controller as well. I have record 1 and record 2 there, obviously, or track 1 and track 2, deck 1, deck 2, and I have the news coming in here as well, which is quite handy. News comes in, and it's also got its own personal gain control, because the Skybox tends to, you know, Sky News doesn't seem, each presenter seems to have their own level for some reason. I've also got music beds on this too. Music beds are controlled with the buttons, these big buttons underneath each deck, which you saw, and these actually come up on the screen. That's them there, right along there, and there are 4 pages of them. So there's a huge amount. There's a traffic one, and there's the what's on one as well. So, but you don't have to have these, of course. That's just me being me. But what else can I say? Well, if you are setting up your own home studio, obviously the bigger the monitor, the better it is, because you can see the tracks better. By the way, this phones here, I've got a little cable coming out of the phones jack, and that's going all the way over to the mixer. Now, I've committed another channel on the mixer to PFL. That's pre-fade level, or pre-fade listen, or Q as it's sometimes called. It's so you can hear the music in your headphones before you play it. Some people don't use it, some people don't think it's important, but you know, it is pretty important to make sure that each one is coming out at the right level. If I put that down, for instance, and press the touch screen, I can put the touch screen into the PFL as well, and I can hear a drop before I play it without putting it out, to maybe time something or see how long it's going to be or something like that. You know, something that you might want to do. And I can press the button just on PFL there, and it puts the whole controller into my headphones. It shuts out what's coming out the main output and puts just the Q or the PFL into my headphones. I take it back off again, and I'm back to normal. There's another little thing here, which is Air 2 track, and air means, of course, it's coming from the transmitter. I can listen to what, for instance, Stirling City Radio is transmitting. You know how we're some 14, 16, 18, 20 seconds back at times. Well, I can press this little button here on my mixer called 2 track, and I can listen to the broadcast just by doing that. So I can listen to the broadcast coming back, and make sure that obviously the broadcast is good. And I can check back something I've said as well, because it's about 15, 16 seconds back, so you can check if you said something silly. You can't correct it, of course, but it lets you hear it back. So that's about it. Nothing fancy, pretty basic. Obviously, doing your own home studio. Oh yeah, so something else I should show you here. HQ's got this, of course, built into the desk because it's a broadcast desk. This is not a broadcast mixer. This is just an ordinary band type mixer. But it's quite a high quality mixer. But you can build a little circuitry here with a micro switch. When you put the fader up, the music goes off, and more importantly, of course, the lights come on, warning you that the mic's up. In HQ, of course, you don't have any hesitation because it's a huge red light. But here, of course, I've just got one on the mic stand, one in front of me, and one over there as well, if anyone's in the room saying mic live, obviously. Kind of important just to make sure that you know the mic's on, and when the music is there, of course, I don't sit and wear headphones all the time. Headphones for 3 hours might be a bit daunting, so I can take my headphones on and off. Just when the mic goes down, obviously the music comes back on again. Just like that. If I do that, music, do that, it goes off. Easy, so that's it. Nothing else I can really show you here. I think that's about it. So if you are building your home studio, what you need is obviously you need some sort of playout to hear the music. So you need an amp, or maybe a pair of active speakers. I've got an amp here and 2 speakers, so you need that. These come in all shapes and sizes, from anything from computer monitors to huge hi-fi speakers like I've got here. You need some lighting, obviously. I've got lights in this room. You also need a mixer to mix your controller and your voice. You need some sort of play out for butt, so that can be a laptop or a mains machine. It's up to you. It can be PC, it can be Mac. It's entirely up to you. But sits there nicely and is connected directly to the internet, of course. And you need something in the way of a microphone to speak. And this is quite a high quality one. It's a Neumann TL102 and a stand to hold it. Quite a substantial stand, so that this one, of course, as you saw earlier, has got the light on it. And you can swing it out the way if you're doing something like that, and get right in to do something while the music's on or something, while you're not required to speak. And you need a controller like this. It can be any controller, and you need a screen to watch it on. That can be a laptop, it can be a mains machine like this. That's just a normal TV we're looking at there, coming out the HDMI of the computer. And you may need a touchscreen, a PC touchscreen, just to play all your drops and fancy stuff in. It can be all shapes and sizes. It started off as an iPad many moons ago, and then it went to touchscreens, of course. And you need some sort of processing. And as you can see, I've got the music processor and the mic processor there as well. That's the mic processor there, okay, made by DBX. I think most of us here at Stirling, anyway, have certainly got one of these if I've got a home studio. So that's just about it. Meters there, of course, you might want to have meters. If you don't have these meters, fancy meters, you can always look at butt, because butt has a couple of meters there, perfectly steady you in the face. Make sure these are open, or make sure butt's open so you can see them at all times, and then that way is a good judge of making sure that your music is the right level and it's not too quiet. So that's about it. Pair of headphones perhaps. Yes, pair of headphones. Need a pair of headphones. Reasonably good quality pair of headphones, because remember, as you're listening to your music, if it's a bad quality pair of headphones, then obviously you're going to be adjusting things that you think is going to make it better, and it's actually making it worse. So obviously that's a situation there. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I shall see you soon.